You've probably seen this before. A guy who seems to have it all: good looks, a great job, maybe even a decent sense of humor, and yet he struggles to connect, to truly spark something real with a woman. It doesn't add up, right? But here's the uncomfortable truth, brother. 99% of men miss something simple. And I'm not talking about major flaws. I'm talking about the small things, the subtle signals, the quiet gestures that bypass her logic and land straight in her nervous system. That it's not about looks, not about money, not even about being confident in that loud, performative way we see online. It's about understanding something deeper. It's about mastering the little-known emotional and psychological cues that women crave, but rarely talk about. See, women don't always want what they say they want. What they feel drawn to is often unconscious even to them. And that's why most men stay stuck, chasing the surface, missing the soul. But here's the good news. You're not most men. Because today, I'm going to walk you through 10 hidden secrets, deep, quiet truths that women crave on a primal level. And no, this isn't a list of pickup lines or surface-level dating tricks. These secrets are rooted in ancient Stoic philosophy and backed by modern psychology. It's the kind of wisdom that doesn't just help you get the girl, it helps you become the kind of man who naturally commands respect, attention, and deep emotional connection. Let me ask you something. Have you ever left a room, but she kept thinking about you? Have you ever felt her energy shift, not when you spoke, but when you didn't? Have you ever had a woman feel safe with you, without knowing exactly why? If not, then something's missing. And this video? It might just change how you see attraction forever. Because once you start embodying the small, quiet behaviors that speak louder than any words, you become unforgettable. You don't have to chase. You don't have to prove yourself. You just are. Now listen, if you only take away one thing from this video, let it be this. The men who understand how women feel, without her needing to explain it, those are the men she never forgets. So, buckle up, because by the time we reach the final secret, you won't just know more. You'll see differently. You'll feel differently. And women around you will sense the shift without you saying a word. Before we begin, do me a favor. If you're serious about becoming the kind of man who leads with depth, not noise, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and stick with me until the very end. Because the last secret we'll cover, it flips the entire game on its head. You ever notice how most men think connection starts with conversation? We try to charm with words, impress with stories, maybe toss in a compliment or two. But here's the thing: real connection, the kind that lingers long after the lights go out, rarely begins with language. It begins with presence, with energy, with touch. And I'm not talking about anything sexual. I'm talking about something most men overlook completely: a gentle, non-sexual touch before intimacy. It could be something as simple as placing your hands on her shoulders, grounding her with a slow breath. A quiet, thoughtful massage that says, "You're safe here. I see you." Not because you want something, but because you're fully with her in that moment. No agenda. That kind of presence, it's rare. And women feel it deeply. The truth is, most women don't want to be rushed into anything. They want to feel emotionally held before they're physically touched. They want to know you're not just in it for the outcome, but for the experience, for the connection. We live in a world that rushes everything: love, pleasure, even silence. But when you slow down, when you offer calm, intentional presence through your touch, something changes. Her guard drops, her breath deepens, her body relaxes, trust builds. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you touched someone not to get something, but simply to give? To comfort, to reassure, to ground them in the now. Because that's what separates a man who performs from a man who connects. This is where Stoic wisdom hits differently. Marcus Aurelius once said, Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. The same applies to intimacy. Don't overthink it. Don't try to perfect it. Be the safe space. Be the calm. Be the grounded energy she can rest into. You see, touch when done without demand becomes sacred. It's the wordless language of I'm here, I see you, and you matter. It's the opposite of pressure. It's presence. In fact, a man who can offer that kind of grounded nonverbal safety becomes unforgettable. Not because he tries hard, but because he doesn't need to try. He just is, calm, present, steady. That's what makes a woman open up emotionally, physically, spiritually. And here's something most men miss. It's not the act of the massage or the physicality of touch that builds attraction. It's the intention behind it. The quiet message it sends. I'm with you, not above you. I'm grounded, not grasping. I'm enough without needing to take. That kind of man. That kind of energy. It doesn't beg. It doesn't convince. It simply invites. So next time you find yourself close to someone you care about, pause. Don't speak too much. Don't push too fast. Just be still. Be soft. Be solid. Let your hands speak what your mouth doesn't need to say. You're safe here. Because in the end, intimacy isn't built on seduction. It's built on safety. And safety begins in silence, in touch, in presence. Now, let me ask you something. Have you ever experienced a moment like that? One where touch alone said everything. Drop a comment below if this resonates. And if you're the kind of man striving to become more grounded, more present, and more connected, not just in love, but in life, consider subscribing. This is a space for men who move with quiet strength. Flirting is an art, but let's be honest, most men either treat it like a performance or a panic attack. Some try too hard, overcompensating with cheesy lines, forced laughter, and exaggerated charm that screams insecurity. Others, they hold back completely, too afraid to make a move, so they blend into the background, unnoticed, invisible. But the truth is, the best kind of flirting doesn't come from trying to impress. It comes from being impressed by the moment, by the energy, by the connection you're creating without needing it to lead anywhere specific. Flirting at its core is play. It's the dance before the music begins. It's that subtle spark between I see you and I'm not chasing you. The key? Playfulness with respect, confidence without ego, eye contact without expectation. The Stoic man flirts not because he's desperate for attention, but because he enjoys the present. He sees her not as a prize to win, but as a person to experience. That shift in mindset changes everything. Let me paint a picture. You're sitting across from her. You lean in, not too close, just enough to lower your voice. Make her lean in too. You say something playful, not to offend, but to tease, lightly, intelligently, like, careful. You're starting to smile like you know something I don't. And then you hold eye contact, calm, unrushed, not seeking approval, just holding space. And that's when the magic happens. Because flirting isn't about lines. It's about energy. About the unspoken message you send with your presence. I'm grounded. I'm not chasing. I'm here to enjoy, not to impress. Women pick up on that instantly. They feel the difference between a man who needs their validation and one who's simply enjoying the moment. The first creates pressure. The second creates tension, the good kind. The kind that makes her smile when you haven't even said much. And here's the thing, respect is everything. A truly confident man never flirts by crossing boundaries. He listens, he watches, he adjusts. Not because he's afraid, but because he understands that attraction is not something you force. It's something you invite. Stoic wisdom reminds us that the moment is all we ever have. So when you flirt, be there. Fully, don't think about what's next. Don't worry if it'll go somewhere. Be the man who can enjoy a moment without needing it to mean more than it is. Ask yourself, Can I connect without trying to control? Can I express interest without expectation? Can I be light without being shallow? That's the balance. That's what flirting with depth looks like. And no, this isn't just about dating. Flirting, at its essence, is human. It's play. It's joy. It's a reminder not to take life or yourself so seriously. It's where masculine energy becomes warm, not overwhelming. Bold, but not invasive. So next time you're face to face with someone who lights up the room, don't overthink. Don't overplay. Just be present. Smile with your eyes. Say something that teases gently and speaks volumes. And then let the moment breathe, because real flirting isn't about the outcome. It's about the spark, the dance, the depth beneath the lightness. And in a world full of noise, a man who flirts like that, with confidence and respect, becomes unforgettable. Now, I'll throw it to you. What's the most powerful moment of connection you've ever felt? One where the energy said more than words ever could. Drop a comment below if that memory still lives in you. And if this resonates, if you're the kind of man learning to lead with grounded presence, not performance, subscribe. We're building something rare here. One calm, confident man at a time. There's something incredibly personal about a woman's hair. Not many people talk about this, but the truth is, her hair holds more emotional weight than you might realize. It's not just about how it looks, it's about how it feels. To her, and to the one allowed to touch it. Think about it. We touch people's hands all the time. We might offer a hug, a pat on the back, even playful nudges. But the moment your hand reaches for her hair, it becomes something else entirely. It's intimate, delicate, intentional. And if you get it wrong, it can feel invasive. But if you get it right, if you wait until the emotional safety is there, it creates a moment she won't forget. Hair for many women is tied to their sense of identity, beauty, and vulnerability. It's not just something styled, it's something protected. So when a woman lets you close enough to touch her hair, she's not just allowing physical proximity, she's offering emotional closeness. That's not to be taken lightly. But here's the key, timing matters. Just because you're close doesn't mean you're there yet. Just because the date is going well doesn't mean it's the right time. And just because she's smiling doesn't mean she's ready for that level of contact. Stoicism teaches us restraint, not as a way to suppress desire, but as a way to honor it. To recognize that the right gesture at the wrong time loses its power, but the right gesture at the right moment, that changes everything. So before you reach out, ask yourself, not with words, but with awareness, has trust been built? Is the moment quiet enough to hold something this personal? Is your touch guided by ego or by presence? If your hand moves because you want to feel something, that's need. If it moves because you want her to feel safe, cherished, and seen, then that's presence. I've seen men ruin a beautiful connection by rushing into gestures like this. A sudden touch of the hair when the moment wasn't ripe. It backfires not because the action was wrong, but because the awareness behind it was missing. But I've also seen the opposite. Two people sitting close. Maybe she's sharing something vulnerable, eyes soft, breath slow. The world has gone quiet around them. And he reaches out, not to control, not to escalate, but just to gently tuck a strand behind her ear. No words. Just attention, respect, presence. And in that moment, something unlocks. Not just desire but trust. That kind of moment can't be forced. It has to be earned. And it's not about technique. It's about timing. It's about why you touch, not just how. A Stoic man knows that true intimacy lives in this space between impulses, that pause where you ask yourself, is this moment about me or is it about her? So let your touch be intentional. Let it be light. Let it be quiet enough that she feels the safety in it. Because when you touch a woman's hair with care, you're not just touching strands, you're telling her, you can relax with me. You don't have to guard this part of yourself. And In a world where so many men rush, grasp, or perform, that kind of patience, that kind of gentleness, it stands out. It lingers. Let me ask you this. Have you ever had someone touch you not out of desire, but out of presence? Someone who made you feel not consumed, but respected? If you have, you know the power of a simple, well-timed gesture. Drop a comment if this speaks to you, or if you've ever misread that moment and learned something from it. And if you're walking the path of becoming a more grounded, intuitive man, not just in romance, but in how you show up in every area of life. Subscribe. We're here to build more than attraction. We're building trust. One quiet, conscious step at a time. There's a subtle gesture that speaks volumes without saying a word. It's the quiet moment. When a man places his hand on a woman's back, not to possess her, not to push her, but to guide her, to reassure her, to let her know, I'm right here, you're safe. In a world full of loud gestures and showy affection, this one often goes unnoticed. But to the woman receiving it, it can mean everything. Now, here's the thing, this gesture only works when it's done right. It has to come from a place of calm, grounded presence. A light touch, no force, no performance. Just quiet confidence, because when done wrong, when it's too firm, too hesitant, or too eager, it shifts from comforting to awkward, or worse, controlling. But when done well, it becomes a language all its own. The language of stability, of protection, of leadership without ego. You see, the hand on her back is not about dominance. It's about direction. It's not about saying, follow me, but rather, I've got you. It's not about controlling the moment, but holding space for it. Let's take a scene. You're walking into a room together. It's unfamiliar. Maybe a bit crowded. She hesitates slightly at the door. And you, without words, place your hand gently on the small of her back. Just enough pressure to say, I'm here. Not so much that it interrupts her autonomy. And then you guide her forward. Not because she needs it, but because you offer it. Willingly, silently. That's the essence of Stoic masculinity. Action. Without noise. Leadership without demand. Presence without performance. A lot of men confuse confidence with dominance. But the Stoic knows better. The Stoic man leads by being rooted, not by being loud. He doesn't need to prove he's in control. He simply is. And others feel it without him having to explain. That kind of calm energy. It radiates. It makes her feel protected without feeling possessed. It makes her feel seen without being smothered. Ask yourself this. Can you lead in silence? Can you offer safety without needing praise? Can your presence speak louder than your words? Because the strongest men don't seek attention, they create alignment. Not through force, but through steadiness. There's a deeper layer to this too. When a woman allows your hand to guide her in public, she's trusting not just your touch but your energy, your awareness of the room, your ability to move through the world with grace, not with arrogance. And when she feels that, she relaxes, she softens, she trusts. But here's the warning. If your intention isn't clear, if you touch to claim, rather than to care, she feel it. Women are intuitive like that. They know the difference between ego and groundedness, between performance and presence. So the question becomes not, can I do this? But am I ready to do this the right way? Because that one gesture, a hand on her back, can either open trust or close it. Stoic philosophy teaches us that true control begins with self-control. That strength isn't loud, it's quiet. It's not in how you move her body, but in how you move through life. Calm, collected, centered. So the next time you walk beside her, don't overthink it. Don't hesitate, but don't overdo it either. Just be there. Confident, present, unshakable. Let your hand say what words can't. You're not alone. I'm beside you, not ahead, not behind. Just here, with you. That's what real leadership feels like. That's what real masculinity sounds like in silence. So now, I ask you, have you ever been guided like that? Not with force, not with flair, but with quiet assurance. Drop a comment if this resonates. If you're learning to lead not with noise, but with presence, this space is for you. Subscribe if you're walking this path. No gimmicks, no games. Just grounded growth. Together. When we hear the word protector, most people picture something physical. A man standing in front of danger. A fight. A shield. A heroic save. But ask most women what kind of protection they actually crave and you'll hear something else. Emotional safety. You see, physical strength might stop a threat, but emotional strength? That's what keeps her grounded when the storm is inside. It's easy to be calm when everything is fine. But can you be still when she's overwhelmed? Can you be centered when she's falling apart? That's the kind of protector that truly matters. Because here's the truth most men don't realize. When a woman is hurting, she's not always looking for you to fix it. She's looking for you to feel steady in it, to not flinch, to not flee, to be the place she can fall apart without worrying she'll lose you. Think about that. In those moments when she's anxious, angry, or just emotionally flooded, what she needs most isn't a solution. It's a man who doesn't take it personally. A man who doesn't match chaos with chaos. She needs a rock, not a rescuer. And being that rock, it's not about becoming emotionally numb or cold. It's about developing enough inner peace that you can sit with her storm without trying to control it. Without being threatened by it. Without needing it to end quickly, just so you can feel comfortable again. That's hard. But that's real strength. Stoicism teaches us, no man was ever wise by chance. Wisdom is earned through discipline, especially emotional discipline. And that discipline begins by protecting your own peace first. Because you can't offer safety to someone else if you're constantly shaken by your own waves. So the next time she breaks down, ask yourself, can I listen without reacting? Can I be still without retreating? Can I offer space without judgment? Because that is what makes a woman feel safe. Not the promise of protection in a fight, but the proof of presence in her most vulnerable moments. I've spoken to men who say, I never know what to say when she's upset. And the truth is, you don't need to say much. You just need to stay. You need to breathe slower when she speeds up. Lower your tone when hers rises. Stay rooted when she's losing her center. That's how a man holds space. That's how you protect, not by blocking her emotions, but by holding your frame while she moves through them. It's like standing beside a fire. You don't need to throw water on it. You just need to stay calm enough not to catch flame yourself. When a woman sees that she can express without breaking you, when she feels that her emotions are not too much for you, that's when trust deepens. That's when true intimacy begins. And the irony is, the more you try to fix her, the less safe she feels. Because fixing often sends the message, you shouldn't feel this. But presence says, you can feel this, and I'm not going anywhere. So here's the question. Are you showing up to control her emotions or to contain your own? Because the protector she truly wants is not the one who takes her pain away, but the one who refuses to add more to it. And when you can do that, consistently, calmly, quietly, you become rare. In a world full of loud opinions and quick reactions. A man who offers stillness becomes magnetic. So ask yourself today, who are you when she's hurting? Do you shrink? Do you argue, or do you breathe and stay? If you're walking this path, if you're building not just strength, but stillness, subscribe, because this channel is for the men who protect, not by force, but by presence. Let's talk about something simple, but primal, the beard. Now, before you roll your eyes and think this is just about grooming tips, hear me out. Because a beard, when worn right, says more about a man than 1,000 words ever could. It's not about fashion. It's about presence. A well-kept beard signals something ancient, something rooted, maturity, strength, discipline. It speaks of a man who isn't rushing through life, but who's settled into himself. And that's rare today, in a world obsessed with filters, image, and performative masculinity. A beard, when clean, intentional, and carried with quiet confidence, stands out. It creates polarity, that unmistakable contrast between masculine ruggedness and feminine softness. It's not just a look. It's an energy. But here's the thing. It's not the beard itself that matters. It's the man behind it. You can't slap a beard onto a boy and expect him to become a man. Just like you can't throw a suit on someone and expect leadership. Form without substance is just a costume. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, said it best: know first who you are, then adorn yourself accordingly. In other words, don't wear the beard to impress. Wear it because it reflects something real, something rooted, something earned. When a man grows a beard not out of trend, but out of grounded self-respect, it sends a quiet message. I'm not here to be polished. I'm here to be present. It's primal for a reason. Historically, the beard has always been a signal of status, maturity, and masculinity. Warriors wore them. Philosophers stroked them. Kings carried them. Not because they needed to prove anything, but because they had become something. But let's be clear. A beard doesn't make you masculine. It should reflect your masculinity, not replace it. If you don't know who you are, a beard just hides your confusion. But if you do, if you've spent time in stillness, walked through fire, learned to lead yourself before leading others, then the beard becomes a symbol, not of pride, but of presence. And yes, women notice it, not just the texture or look, but the vibe it carries. A well-kept beard, worn by a man who knows himself, creates emotional gravity. It signals, I'm solid. I've grown past the need to explain myself. Think of it like this. A sharp beard on a grounded man is like a well-placed pause in a conversation. It adds weight, intention, focus. But if you're uncentered, needy, or constantly seeking validation, no beard in the world can cover that. So before you ask, should I grow a beard? Ask yourself this: am I becoming the kind of man who could wear one with meaning? Does my inner world match the strength I'm trying to show on the outside? That's where the power is. It's not about beard oil or symmetry, it's about symbolism. A beard can't make you stoic, but if you are stoic in the way you move, speak, and carry yourself, a beard can become a quiet nod to that inner gravity. So if you choose to grow one, do it for the right reasons. Do it because you've outgrown the boyish desire to please everyone. Do it because your presence has sharpened, your mind has matured, and your energy speaks for itself. And if you don't grow one, that's fine too. The real point isn't the beard, it's the man. So now I'll leave you with this. What are you wearing that actually reflects who you are? And what are you still clinging to that hides what you're afraid to become? Drop a comment if this resonates. And if you're walking this path of clarity, calm confidence, and quiet strength, subscribe. Because we're not just growing beards. We're growing men. Let's talk about something that's often overlooked in conversations about masculinity. Laughter. Not sarcasm, not irony, not performance. I'm talking about real shared laughter. The kind that melts tension, opens hearts, and makes two people feel like they're the only ones in the room. Most men either underestimate it or misuse it. They think laughter means being the funny guy, the entertainer, the one who cracks jokes just to fill the silence or win approval. But that's not it. That's not what we're talking about here. Because true laughter, the kind that bonds, the kind that builds connection, isn't about being a clown. It's about presence. It's about playfulness. It's about a man being so grounded in himself that he can let the moment be light without needing to control it. And here's the beauty of it. Shared laughter actually changes brain chemistry. When two people laugh together, their bodies release oxytocin, that same hormone that builds trust, emotional bonding, and intimacy. That's why a deep laugh with someone you love doesn't just feel funny. It feels safe. You ever notice that? You're with someone, maybe in the car or walking back from dinner, and suddenly, a small moment turns into something hilarious. You both laugh not to impress, not to compete, but just because. And in that moment, the walls drop, the masks fall away. You're not trying to be anyone. You're just there, real, present. That's what laughter can do. And for the Stoic, man, that's not weakness. That's depth. See, we often associate strength with seriousness, as if being calm and stoic means being cold. But Marcus Aurelius never said, don't feel joy. He just said, don't let joy own you. There's a difference. Laughter, when rooted in presence, not in performance, is a mark of deep confidence. Because only a man who's truly centered can allow the moment to be soft, light, even ridiculous, without fearing it'll make him look less masculine. In fact, one of the most powerful things a man can do is make a woman feel safe enough to laugh, not because he's performing, but because his energy gives her permission to relax, to play, to let go. So here's a question worth asking. Can you hold space for joy? Can you let the moment be fun without needing it to go somewhere? Can you laugh not to escape life, but to honor the beauty in it? Because the truth is, joy doesn't weaken strength. It completes it. A man who can't laugh, who takes himself too seriously, often carries a fragile ego beneath the armor. But a man who can laugh with himself, with life, with the woman beside him, that man is free. Not because he's reckless, but because he's rooted. Laughter isn't the opposite of stoicism. It's a reflection of it. The Stoic man doesn't chase the laugh. He doesn't force it. But when the moment calls for it, he embraces it fully. And in doing so, he reminds everyone around him, especially her, that strength can be warm, that masculinity can be light. And let's be honest, some of your most unforgettable moments weren't serious ones. They were the ridiculous ones, the awkward ones, the belly laugh, can't breathe, tears in your eyes moments. Those are the memories that last. So don't be afraid to laugh. Don't resist joy because you think it makes you look soft. Let it sharpen you. Let it balance you. And maybe next time you're with someone who matters, ask yourself, am I here to impress her or enjoy her? Because if she laughs with you, not at your jokes, but at your presence, you've already built a connection deeper than words. Drop a comment if this resonates. And if you're building a kind of masculinity that welcomes laughter not as a trick, but as truth, subscribe. This journey isn't just about power. It's about presence. It's about being the kind of man who can laugh and still lead. There's something undeniably powerful about a man with a dream, not just a wish, not a vague someday. I'm talking about a real, burning purpose, a long-term vision that pulls him forward even when no one else understands it. And here's the truth. Women feel that deeply. Masculine energy at its core is about movement, direction, focus. It's not static. It's not about hovering over her every word or waiting around for her validation. It's about living from the inside out. Moving forward not to escape, but to build something that matters. A man on purpose doesn't need to convince anyone of his worth. He just shows up, day after day, building the thing that calls to him, whether it's a business, a mission, a skill, or a quiet, steady vision for the future. And here's the paradox most men miss. When you stop chasing her and start chasing what fulfills you, that's when she truly sees you. Because purpose isn't a threat to love. Purpose is attractive to love. It doesn't mean ignoring her. It doesn't mean being cold. It means you have a center, a North Star that keeps you grounded even when life gets chaotic. In fact, most women don't want to be the center of your world. They want to orbit around something with you, something meaningful, something alive. That's the difference between a man who clings and a man who leads. When she sees that you wake up with clarity, when she watches you stay consistent, Even on the hard days, when she feels that your soul is tied to something deeper than dopamine, that's when she begins to trust. Not just your words, but your life. Let's be real. A man without a dream eventually becomes heavy to be around. He waits for her to make him feel alive. He's always available, always watching, always there, but not moving. And that stillness? It's not comforting. It's suffocating. Because masculine stillness without direction turns into passivity. And passive men don't attract, they fade. But when you live with purpose, you carry a different kind of energy. Not frantic, not arrogant. Just steady, clear, rooted. And Stoic philosophy captures this beautifully. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What stands in the way becomes the way." Meaning, the very obstacles in front of your dream are not detours, they are the path. The resistance, the setbacks, the solitude, that's where you're forged. So if you're waiting to feel ready before you chase what matters, stop. Because you'll never feel ready. Dreams demand courage, not certainty. Ask yourself, what am I building that's bigger than me? What legacy do I want my life to whisper, even when I'm not in the room? And would I still pursue this dream, even if no one ever clapped for it? That's the kind of man who becomes magnetic, not because he says the right things, but because he embodies the right things. And here's the beautiful irony. The more you commit to your vision, the more she feels safe in your presence. Not because you're always available, but because you're always anchored. So don't apologize for your dream. Don't water it down to seem more balanced or normal. Chase it fully, with clarity, with conviction. And let the right woman meet you on the way. Because dreams aren't a distraction from connection. They are the foundation of it. So tell me, what are you building right now that stretches your soul? What keeps you awake, not in anxiety, but in awe? Drop a comment if you're walking that path. And if you're becoming the kind of man who doesn't just exist, but moves with meaning. Subscribe, because this space isn't just about dating, it's about purpose, and presence, and power that begins within. Let's be honest, most men don't actually listen. They wait for their turn to speak. They nod at the right times. Maybe they remember a few details here and there, but truly listening? Deep listening, the kind that makes a woman feel seen, felt, understood. That's rare, and because it's rare, it's powerful. When you learn to listen, not with your ears, but with your presence, you instantly separate yourself from 95% of men out there. Because listening isn't just about being silent, it's about being still. It's not about giving advice. It's about holding space. It's not about fixing. It's about feeling. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." But let's go deeper than that. Because for the Stoic man, listening is more than a skill, it's a form of leadership. A demonstration of emotional strength. It's the proof that you can set your ego aside and receive someone fully without needing to make it about you. Have you ever had someone really listen to you? Not interrupt, not judge, not turn the conversation back to themselves. Just sit with you, eyes steady, body grounded, energy open, like you were the only thing that mattered in that moment. You remember it, don't you? Because deep listening does something no pickup line ever could. It builds trust. It creates intimacy. And yes, it even creates attraction. Because when a woman feels emotionally safe, she can finally relax. And when she relaxes, connection flows. And when connection flows, something sacred begins to form without pressure, without force. Let me paint you a picture. You're sitting across from her. She's opening up about something, maybe her childhood, maybe her day, maybe her dreams. And you're there, not thinking about your response, not planning the next move, just fully there, present, calm, curious. You don't try to fix her problem. You don't rush her to the point. You let her be messy, rambling, human. And when she finishes, you pause. Then you say something simple like, I hear you. Or maybe, that sounds heavy. Thanks for sharing that with me. That's it. No performance. No polished answers. Just truth. That kind of listening. It's magnetic because it says, I'm not here to manage you. I'm here to meet you. And when a man can do that, over time, it creates a bond deeper than charm or looks ever could. Now here's where it gets personal. Most men struggle to listen, deeply because they're never listened to themselves. We live in a world that teaches men to speak with strength, but rarely teaches them how to receive with softness. So if that's you, if listening feels awkward, unfamiliar, even uncomfortable, it's not your fault. But it is your responsibility to change it. Start with the small moments. Can you let her speak without cutting in? Can you sit through silence without filling it with noise? Can you be present without needing to be right? Because here's the secret. The better you listen, the better you'll understand not just her, but yourself. Listening trains your patience. It strengthens your awareness. And over time, it becomes a form of quiet influence, where people lean toward you, not because you're loud, but because you get them. So don't underestimate this. In a world full of men trying to be interesting, be interested. And one more thing, if you're the kind of man learning to slow down, to show up, to actually hear the people around you, especially the women you care about, then you're already becoming rare. Drop a comment if this resonates. And if you're building a masculinity that includes softness, stillness, and the kind of strength that listens, subscribe. Because here, we don't just speak, we learn to hear. Have you ever noticed how the most unforgettable moments in life weren't the ones we planned, but the ones that just happened? Think about it. Not the dinner reservation you booked 2 weeks in advance, but the time you got caught in the rain, and instead of running, you both stood there laughing like kids. Not the fancy vacation, but the night you drove aimlessly, chasing nothing but the sunset. That's the power of spontaneity. You see, predictability is safe, comfortable, but in relationships, especially romantic ones, it's also a slow, silent killer of attraction. When everything becomes routine, when every gesture is expected, when each sentence feels rehearsed, the spark begins to die. Slowly, quietly, but then spontaneity walks in like a gust of fresh air. It's not chaos. It's not recklessness. It's a liveness. It's choosing to bring surprise into stillness. To be unpredictable, not to manipulate, but to remind someone, hey, I'm still here. I'm still feeling. I'm still human. Stoic wisdom doesn't mean becoming robotic. In fact, true stoicism teaches you to be calm enough inside, to be playful on the outside. Controlled spontaneity is a form of confidence. It says, I don't need to follow the script because I trust myself in the moment. It's the look in your eyes when you change the topic mid-sentence to something unexpected just to see her laugh. It's texting, be ready in 10, no questions, and taking her to a jazz bar she's never heard of. It's breaking the routine on purpose, because the best kind of love isn't found in what's scheduled, but in what's sensed. And it doesn't have to be big. Spontaneity lives in small things, a different route home, a handwritten note instead of a text, breakfast at night, just because. It's not about impressing, it's about being present. It's not about chasing excitement, it's about waking up the moment you're in. Ask yourself, when was the last time you surprised someone you love? When was the last time you surprised yourself? Maybe that's the real magic. Spontaneity doesn't just light up a relationship. It lights you up. It reminds you you're not a machine. You're not here just to function. You're here to feel. So don't be afraid to break the pattern. Say the unexpected. Show up in a way they didn't predict. Because as the Stoics teach, stillness is powerful, but stillness with surprise, that's unforgettable. Let's be clear, what we've talked about in this video isn't about tricks. It's not pickup tactics. It's not fake confidence. And it's definitely not a mask. It's about presence. That grounded, still, unwavering energy that doesn't need to chase, doesn't need to beg, doesn't need to prove anything to anyone, because it already is. In a world where everyone's trying to impress, trying to be louder, funnier, richer, more attractive, the rarest kind of man is the one who's just real, not perfect. Not flashy, but real. He's not seeking validation. He's not checking if she noticed. He's simply living with intention. He's choosing his words carefully. He's choosing his habits with discipline. He's choosing to master himself, not control others. Because here's the truth. Women don't remember the man who gave them the most gifts. They remember the man who made them feel seen without saying a word. The man who didn't flinch under pressure, who stayed calm when things got messy, who listened more than he spoke, who knew who he was, even when she tested him. That's not charisma. That's not charm. That's character. Stoicism isn't about being cold. It's about being composed. It's about staying warm inside while the storm rages around you. It's about sharpening your edges, not for anyone else, but because you respect yourself too much to stay dull. So if you're watching this thinking, how do I get women to notice me? You're asking the wrong question. Ask this instead. Am I becoming the kind of man I would admire? Because the more you master yourself, the less you chase anything. And paradoxically, that's when everything starts to come toward you naturally. This is a quiet kind of power. The kind that doesn't demand attention. It commands it, silently, subtly, sustainably. So wherever you are in your journey, keep going, keep building, keep sharpening, not for approval, not for applause, but so that one day someone looks back and says, I don't remember what he wore, I don't remember what he said, but I will never forget the way he carried himself. Now I want to ask you what part of today's video hit you the hardest. Drop it in the comments. And if you're on this path of becoming not performing, then this channel is for you. Hit subscribe and let's keep building together. And before you go, where in the world are you watching from? I always love to hear where these words are landing.